Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Ang topic natin for this episode, ghost consultants. Alam niyo ba ibig sabihin ng ghost consultants? Naku, mukhang marami na raw nabibiktima masyado ang mga tinatawag na ghost consultants. Yan ang ating pag-uusapan kasama ang nagbabalik sa In a Nutshell, immigration lawyer kukumpletuhin ko ngayon na Lou Jansen Dangzalan. Hi, Lou.
Wow, wow, kompleto. I'm very good. How are you, Ina? Kamusta?
I'm good. Thank you ulit at na kulit na naman kita para sa isang episode.
It's always fun to be here and magchikahan.
Ayan. I will share with you guys first itong article na finoward ko kay Lou. Sabi ko, Lou, kasi pag-uusapan ko to kung gusto mo. Baka gusto mong sumama sa akin. Ito yan. Hold on. Okay. This is an article, a recent article from CBC News. March 19 lang. Okay. Ang title, The Rising Problem of Ghost Consultancies Hits Man Who Lost $12,000 trying to get a Canadian visa for his wife. Ang sabi dito, the Regulatory College CICC has received 682 reports of unauthorized practitioners since 2021. Yung unauthorized practitioners na yan, Lou, can we assume na ito yung mga tinuturing na ghost consultants? Ganon
Yes,
na rin.
correct. Kasi kung nagpa-practice ka ng immigration, you need to be either a registered consultant through CICC or you need to be a lawyer in one of the provincial or territorial bars or a member of the Chamber of Notaries in Quebec. So kung hindi ka parte ng mga yon, isa kang unauthorized representative. At kailangan din i-report actually kahit na gumagamit kayo ng representative na halimbawa kapamilya kasi meron mga exceptions na pwede naman gumamit ng non-authorized depending on the circumstances. Meron talaga.
Pwede rin pala. Okay. I'll just run through the story of itong case study dito sa CBC. He hired GMC Canada for a visitor visa sa kanyang wife. Naging successful naman daw, Lou. And then, nung nandito na si wife, he sought help again from the same agency to secure a spousal visa. Ang nangyari, nakabayad na daw siya up to thousands of dollars. Biglang hindi na lang siya binalikan. Literally, ito, ginost yata talaga siya kung, yung linggo ngayon. Literally, ginost din siya talaga nung consultant. Now, the thing is, ang worrisome dito, kasi sabi niya dito, Canada GMC, visually, you go to their social media sites like YouTube, Instagram, the website, mukhang very polished daw, mukhang professional, yung mga ganyan. Tapos, nung tinatawagan naman niya, meron ding daw mga sasagot na mga operator, mga music pa. So, it will really make people believe that this is a legitimate business offering, real quality service. Pero ayun na nga, hindi na lang siya binalikan and then when they tried to get a refund, wala. Lou, tapos nag-complain pa raw sila sa government offices like the anti-fraud department or bureau. Wala rin daw masyado nagawa, Lou. Ano ba yan? So, what do you think happened there? And have you had clients with similar problems na mga ganitong parang ghost consultants?
Anong sabi dun sa CBC article? 621 complaints?
Oo, parang konti pa nga siguro to, Lou.
Oo, kasi yung isa o dalawa dyan sa akin eh. may mga na-report din kami. Kasi nga may mga, alam mo yun, I suppose at the beginning, well-intentioned people, pero wala naman silang authorization to practice, di ba? In regards to this particular case na siniwalat nga ni Pratusha, and full disclosure, actually, I know nung sinulat ni Pratusha, nag-reach out din siya sa akin, tapos na-refer ko siya dun sa lawyer na kausap nila dyan, si Andrew. He used to be my associate. Okay. He articled under me, I mentored him, tas ngayon he's got his own practice. Long story short, si consultancy na to, kung titignan ninyo yung article, it seems like that this legal entity is actually operating outside Canada. So that's one of the significant challenges of CICC, I would say, of the CBSA and the RCMP. So CBSA is the enforcement arm for Immigration Refugee Protection Act. may fraud provisions itong IRPA na criminal offenses, essentially, if you violate them. And then, of course, generally speaking, the RCMP has jurisdiction over criminal charges and prosecution in Canada for federal offenses, that is. So, sumototal nito is kung wala sila sa Canada, sino pa prosecute mo, 'di ba? So may sinabi doon na incorporated in Portugal, tapos may connections sa Middle East. Alam naman natin ngayon kung ang payment system is we're using credit card fraud is pretty strong. So yeah, it's sad because actually this isn't the first time I've heard of this. It's a lot of times and very common siya talaga, unfortunately. So sabi dun sa article, 'di ba, like sobrang legitimate ng appearances ng company. And yun nga, and actually nung kinikwento mo kanina, naalala ko sa mga Facebook Filipino communities, 'di ba? Makikita mo pa legit check po, 'di ba? Yung nagka-crowdsource sa mga tao. Tama naman kasi hello, like ang hirap paminsan kahit akala mo totoo, hindi pala, 'di ba? Actually pati ako nali-legit check din minsan eh. So, syempre, kailangan i-check, diba? So, ako naman, ang depensa ko, tignan nyo, i-google nyo ako, makikita nyo naman na nandun ako sa database ng mga lawyers directories sa Law Society of Ontario, yung bar nga, pati sa Canadian Immigration Lawyers Association, nakalagay din yung aking profile doon. So, there are ways, third party, and then it's best, gaya nga nung sabi dun sa article ni Pretush, na you need to check with references. So, for example, meron na ba silang kakilalang kliyente na natulungan itong firm na ito, for example? In that particular article, I don't think that was something that the person did. And we're not victim blaming here by any means. And as yung isa nga sabi din ng isa pang na biktima, anyone, a reasonable person, can still fall victim to these particular scams. So, a couple of things. I think it was, sino yung consultant na laging pumupunta din dito sa In a Nutshell? What's her
name? Dayanara.
Dayanara, yes.
Hi, Dayanara.
I think she mentioned once na parang one of the legit checks that you want to do is like, don't do cash transactions when dealing with consultants, lawyers, etc. Do credit cards. And that's also a layer of protection. Kasi, for example, if you were a victim of fraud, especially if your card is based here in Canada, you can always put a contest to your pwede may contest yung transaction, di ba? Meron ka pa rin mga
after a while na.
I mean, it really depends. If the services were not delivered and the delivery of the services is, let's say, yung promises like it will be delivered within a year, tapos, syempre, ginost ka after 4 months, di ba? Pwede mo pa rin, there's no harm, right? It depends on the credit card terms. Kung wala talagang na-deliver na good or service, talagang pwede pa namang mabawi yan dapat, supposedly, under the general framework of the credit cards. The credit card companies have insurance for this. So, nire-report mo yung fraudulent activity ng isang supposed provider. Kasi yung provider, makakancel yung kanilang credit card facilities. Diba? So, yun yung maganda. May mga recourses tayo labas dun sa mga sinasabi nila. Yes, tama. Pumunta sila sa anti-fraud bureau ng federal government. But the thing is, I've been there before, Ina. As I said, yung isa sa mga complaint na yun, kami. Ang problema, magre-report ka, yung follow-through, paminsan medyo mahina.
Napakatagal,
Yan na nga. Tapos paano pa kung yung perpetrator mo, nasa labas ng Canada?
Pag-usapan natin mamaya ulit more on how you can, anong pwede mo gawin pag ma-scam ka ng mga consultants naman. But for now, I want to discuss this federal court decision. I think yung nangyari dito is one of the more common ways kung paano nambibiktima yung mga tinatawag na ghost consultant. As always, I will only read the summary, guys. Simpleng kwento lang naman ito. Okay? So, na-refuse po ang application for, ano bang visa pala to, no? Work permit, application for misrepresenting material facts. Okay. In this case, the application contained a number of false documents, including a fake Lamia, which was essential sa kanyang application dahil nga work permit application. Ito ang nangyari, guys. Yung applicant, nagbayad po siya ng, ang mahal, $11,500 USD to an unregistered consultant with no Canadian credentials whose identity does not appear on documents na final on his behalf. I
Mura
think
pa
this
yan.
is common. Oo. Laging sinasabi yun, sige ako mag-aasikaso sa'yo, ako tutulong sa'yo, pero wag mong check yung box na meron kang consultant, na meron kang representative rather, di ba?
Yeah.
Okay. So, the applicant agreed na yung kinuha daw niya kasi bibigyan daw siya ng trabaho sa Canada, Lamia, and prepare and submit lahat ng kanyang application. Okay? Pero again, sinestress ulit dito sa court ruling, walang Canadian qualifications yung kinuhang tao. Okay? So, ang nangyari, the ghost consultant prepared a fake job offer, a fake Lamia, and submitted material along with a fraudulent work permit application which the consultant signed for the applicant. Oh my gosh, ano ba yan? Si Maddie, itong ghost consultant, did this using an email address he obtained without anything being reviewed by the applicant. IRCC sent provisional PFL procedural fairness email to Maddie's email account noting that Lamia was missing. Not only was it missing, it was fake. So hindi na nag-reply ngayon si Maddie. Therefore, the officer found that the applicant misrepresented his situation at naging inadmissible siya sa Canada for 5 years. Okay. So I think this whole thing happened, hindi alam ni applicant na ganon ang ginagawa ni Maddie. Okay, so he tried to seek an appeal through this judicial review pero hindi pa rin po ni-reverse yung decision. So ano yung biggest mistake nung applicant dito, Lou?
Biggest red flag from the beginning na sinabi mo is yung wag mo na lang i-check yung meron kang representative. That's number one. My second red flag there is too good to be true. The offer, ako nang bahala sa inyo. Ito $11,500. Wag mo nang isipin yung mga problema. Yung mga problema dyan, ako naman mga problema, paghanap ng job offer, etc. Very, how shall I put it? Too good to be true. Pangatlong malaking red flag, na-submit yung application without being reviewed by the actual applicant.
Yun.
So, isa siguro sa pinakamalaking prinsipyo dito na pwede nating balikan, Ina, is yung tinatawag na material misrepresentation. Kasi karamihan sa mga kababayan natin ngayon, thankfully through avenues like, through channels like yourself, na iintindihan na ng mas mabuti yung konsepto nga ng misrepresentation. Pero actually, may nuance pa yan. Ang misrepresentation, in order to lead to inadmissibility, kailangan material misrepresentation. Hindi porket nagkamali ka sa application, deadly yung iniisip mo na, oh my God, nakalimutan ko yung trabaho ko sa McDonald's. Question, material ba siya? So, ibig sabihin, ito bang pag-omit ng information, for example, na nagtrabaho ako sa McDonald's, magbabago ba yung application ko for a permanent resident visa for federal skilled worker? Gawa nga na yung basis ng FSW points ko, hindi naman galing ng McDonald's. From that perspective, hindi siya material. Diba? So, in this case, kaya ito naging material, sasabihin ko na, spoiler alert, kasi yung mga documents na nagpo-prove na meron siyang qualifications, including the eligibility for a work permit, such as yung labor market impact assessment, peke. So, kung yun yung pineke, yun yung ginapex, syempre material yun, diba? Sa analysis ng isang administration, ng immigration officer essentially.
Yeah. Ngayon, nung pumunta si applicant sa court for a judicial review, isa sa mga binanggit niya, Lou, the applicant alleged na Maddie, niloko nga daw kasi siya, ni Maddie. Okay, niloko siya. And some 500 others, it turns out. Naku po. So, and Maddie appears to have fled to Turkey. Naku, umalis na ng Canada. But was also extradited back to Iran. Ano ba yun? Grabe, no? Where he may now be in prison awaiting trial, being indicted and prosecuted doon. So, grabe, no? But it turns out, Lou, hindi pala pwedeng ganun ang defense mo na may nanloko sa akin. Hindi pala yung pumapasa sa court, most of the time, Lou.
The federal court has time and again ruled na dahil na niloko ka, hindi ikaw ang gumawa ng application, ultimately, ikaw ang responsible sa iyong sariling application. Kaya nga napaka-importante yung sinabi mo kanina na sinabit yung application na hindi nakita ni isang pahina ng application, ni isang pahina hindi nakita ng aplikante, tapos na-submit. That is a big red flag. I'm sure yung mga nakakausap ng mga consultants and other lawyers, Ina, ang protocol nila is kapag ka magsasubmit kami ng application, kagaya nila, is kukumpunin namin yung application, tapos isa-send muna namin sa client namin. Kukuha kami ng final go signal. Ito yung final version. Have a look, please review. If you find something wrong, please inform us. If you think you have a question, let us know. Otherwise, you can tell us to go ahead and submit. Tapos hintayin ko yung response ng aking client to submit. In other words, nakita nung kliyente ko na kung ano yung sinubmit, diba? In that situation, mukhang hindi. 0, 0, 0 talaga. So, very big red flag siya kasi at the end of the day, paano kung nagkamali ako doon sa sinama ko doon sa package na inosente, na isama kong papel maling papel. Tapos hindi siya kasama dapat sa application mo, tapos na-submit. At the end of the day, yes, professional liability ko yon, pero ultimately, yung immigration consequence, hindi naman sa akin babagsak eh. Sa iyo yun as applicant. So very important as a client, insist that you see a copy of the application before you have it submitted.
Yeah, I think that's a right term. You insist, no? Kailangan transparent. Dapat transparent every step of the way, ano. Halimbawa, siguro pag may hininging additional documents, bago din i-submit ang kahit anong mga tipong ganong requirement, dadaan ulit muna sa'yo bilang applicant just to double check everything. Now let's say Lou, this consultant or this ghost consultant nandito sa Canada. Anong pwedeng habol man lang ng isa't naloko?
That's a good question. So there are provisions in the Immigration Refugee Protection Act, which is yung law specific to immigration in Canada, that if you commit immigration fraud in Canada, there are specific penalties laid out. For example, misrepresentation leads to inadmissibility. Ngayon, for any other offense, meron ding general penalties na nakasaad sa Immigration Refugee Protection Act under Section 124. And yun nga, nagko-call ito for fines and nagko-call din ito ng penalties. At hindi lang ang applicants ang madadawit dito actually. The Crown or yung prosecution nga, they can choose to actually prosecute authors of fraud as well, whether they be lawyers or consultants. So meron general provision, which kind of like goes back to the original article that we're talking about, yung share natin sa CBC, ano. May isa doon na nag-comment, yung American na biktima nga rin, di ba? Okay. Sabi nila, parang nakakadismaya naman na may mga ganito na pangyayari sa Canada considering na Canada ito. So I guess like medyo ni-romanticize nila ang Canada in a way. But at the same time, tama din naman siya. Kasi bakit nga naman ito yung imahe ng Canada tapos in reality, parang what the heck? Diba?
Oo.
So sa akin lang kasi, at patagal ko na rin tong siguro pinupukpok yung ulo ko about this, is like, it's not so much a question of, how do I put this, yung gravity ng penalty na pwedeng posibleng mangyari sa'yo, but rather the possibility of the penalties for violating the law being a very likely thing to happen if you violate the law. Kasi as soon as people realize na yung kung may certainty na merong parating na punishment down the road kapag may ginawa kang masama, ito yung magpe-prevent ng fraud, di ba? At least from inside Canada, kasi yung mga nasa labas ng Canada, very brazen na sila, di ba? With impunity, gagawin nila yan. Pero at the very least, if you want to be taken seriously, yung immigration system natin, ito'y challenge, both sa CBSA, sa IRCC, and for the federal government as a whole, na implement niya naman po yung mga penalties na nakasaad sa batas natin. Kasi kung hindi natin sinasampulan ng mga bad actors dyan sa tabi-tabi, talagang tutuloy-tuloy pa rin yan. Kasi at the end of the day, Ina, Diyos ko, alam mo kung laking perang dumadaan sa immigration, di ba? Hopes
Oo.
and dreams. So, it's
Ako,
as long as it's profitable and the chances of getting caught are remote, people will do it.
yeah. I think the standard should even be higher for the registered consultants and, lawyers who might be defrauding.
Yeah.
Engaging in fraud. Kasi meron ding mga observations, Luna. You're right. No? Apart from certainty of punishment, kumbaga, it should be tougher for these professionals. Supposedly, professionals sila, no? Kasi I read some reports, yung mga stories about, nahuli na, sige na, na-guilty na, kumbaga, si regulated consultant. Ang naging punishment lang, maliit na fine.
Yeah.
Konting suspension sa license. Tapos babalik na naman sa pagpa-practice. Yung parang dapat mas matindi punishment kasi you're supposedly a professional. Diba? Para I think may ganong panawagan din here in Canada.
Yeah, may repercussions siya. So the question would be, yung certainty ng punishment, the gravity of punishment. You're right. It should also be kind of commensurate to it, diba? Kasi not only do you have to do restitution to your victims, but also kailangan maramdaman mo yung financial impact ng ginawa mo, diba?
Yeah.
So I agree with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the ghost consult. Napunta na tayo sa mga sorry guys.
Niluluto na tayo.
Kaya nga. Okay, doon tayo sa mga ghost consultants again. I think many of them operate through social media pages, no, Lu?
Yes, absolutely.
Naku, kaya yung mga iba na nga, nasa Pilipinas pa lang, di ba? Nandito sa Canada, binibiktima nila yung mga nasa Pilipinas, yung mga ganun ba? Tapos, they're not really RCICs, hindi rin sila lawyers, pero magpapanggap na, may kakilala ko dito, may kilala akong employer dito.
Right.
I think one of the most common, modus nila, no? And then, pagdating dito, wala. Nga. Paano ba, oh my gosh, no? Ano bang dapat nilang bantayan? Many of these people, many of them even upload videos of yung mga successful na natulungan nila.
Oh, yes.
Ayun.
Yeah, ingat po tayo sa mga ganyang video kasi alam nyo, they prey on our good vibes or seeking of good vibes, di ba? Yun naman talaga kasi nakakapag-increase siya ng ating dopamine, di ba? Kasi nakakita tayo ng mga ganyang positive stories. But at the same time, a couple of things. One is, you said, yun nga, biglang nawawala na lang. Well, first of all, nandun ba sila to begin with? Kasi madami sa mga kababayan natin or yung mga nagko-consult din sa akin minsan, in a way, they haven't really interacted with their representative, with their either lawyer or consultant. And why is that? Because these, ghost consultants that we're talking about, a lot of times, they just attach themselves to those who are licensed. Could be a consultant, could be a lawyer. And here's the worst part, Ina. Sometimes these individuals, these unscrupulous individuals, will actually claim that, we work together with Ludang Zalan. You can check him out. Ako naman tatanungin mo, sino siya? So parang pwedeng ganon. So ako, I'm very live. Sometimes we do a regular Google sweep of where our name, the firm appears. Kasi it's part of your cyber health din talaga. Kasi hindi ko alam kung sinong gumagamit ng pangalan ko. It's so easy to do that. Ang dali namang i-replicate ng mga logo ng mga tao. Di ba? Minsan mga emails nga nasa-spoof na. So pati nga boses ng tao ngayon through artificial intelligence, nakokopya na. So ingat-ingat po tayo. Do your legit checks talaga. And ang hirap din talaga in today's age. So sometimes you can't really pin it on the people na hindi sila nag-check kasi kahit mag-check ka paminsan ganun pa rin, 'di ba? So ang pinakamagandang depensa siguro dito is una sa lahat, kailangan yung representative na may lisensya, siya dapat ang kausap nyo parate. Or kung hindi man
video.
Exactly. Exactly. Kausapin nyo sila. Tapos siguraduhin ninyo nag-i-interact kayo with the licensee. Hindi lang parate na meron agent na kadikit nila. Halimbawa, meron kang isang agency sa Dubai. We work with, let's say, Andolong Immigration Consultancy in Canada. Yun pala, hindi pala kilala ni Ina. Or maaring let's say na may consultancy talaga sa Canada na attached talaga dun sa isang agent sa Dubai. May mga gumagawa kasi noon. Pero ingat din kasi usually kasi yung proximity mo dun sa sa licensee, it determines the quality of the work that will be done to you, especially lalo na you're parting ways with thousands and thousands of dollars, di ba?
Yeah.
So siguraduhin niyo yung licensee yung nagtatrabaho dun sa file niyo.
Correct. Ang totoo dyan, Luno, masyadong gumagaling din tong mga manloloko na to.
Totoo
Kaya nga,
lang.
ang hirap din naman sisihin ng mga victims dahil, again, pagaling ng pagaling ang mga panloloko talaga. You know, it reminded me, yung sinasabi mo, meron din nga mga nagpe-pretend using names of vloggers na malalaki ang following. Hindi ako.
Yes,
Someone,
I've seen it.
a while back, PM'd me. Sabi, parang, Ina, totoo kaya to? Si Toot, isang sikat na vlogger here in Canada na nagsasalita tungkol sa immigration. Message sa akin, kaya daw niya akong hanapan ng work, employer, ganito, ganyan. Totoo ba yan? Nagbibigay ba siya? I helped out a little
Do
bit.
one thing though. Sorry, clarify natin itong ginagaranti yung work. That is a giant red flag. First of all, most RCICs, most lawyers are not labor recruiters.
Yeah.
Most of us are not. Number one. Number two, a lot of jurisdictions do require these labor recruiters to be licensed. So if they're not licensed as a consultant, as a lawyer, and as a recruiter, there's a problem. Number three, consultants and lawyers typically avoid being a person who wears both hats kasi this is prone to conflicts of interest. At least the ethical ones I know, they do not do this because it is unethical. So kung may lawyer supposedly or may consultant supposedly na nag-offer na ako na maghahanap ng trabaho sa inyo, beware. We're not saying they're doing fraud, but it is a sign that, hey, something is not up to the usual industry standard. Diba?
Yan, oo. And you can distinguish, meron din talaga mga legitimate organizations, Lou. Tama ka, yung mga recruiters / placement agencies. Meron din naman talagang mga ganun, no? And I
Correct.
think many of them, hindi naman talaga sila necessarily regulated mga RCIC or may mga lawyers, but yeah, so mag-ingat lang kayo, no? Dun sa influencer, I did a little research din. Ako naka-figure out na, I don't think this is that person. Okay? Nagpapanggap yata ito. That's my opinion. I-double check mo.
No,
So,
dear.
ibig sabihin, they use really anybody's name. They can use anybody's name. Ay, nako. Ang
I
hirap
think yun yung
talaga.
parang zeitgeist natin ngayon, yung parang theme of the time na because there is the decentralization of information through the internet. Pasensya na, I'm gonna wear my philosophy hat. The decentralization of information, the breakdown of expertise. So even if there is a breakdown of expertise, naghahanap tayo ng legitimate voices. So dito na rin pumapasok yung mga unscrupulous actors na magte-take advantage. And syempre, ang dami sa atin, lalo na in the age of fake news and propaganda, not really willing victims, pero kasi ang galing na kasi nila eh. Lalo na recently, ang galing nila.
Ay, nako, okay. Well, again, in this time of, yan na nga, gumagaling ang mga manloloko, guys. I think it's just really best to stick with professionals if you do decide to work with them. Because again, sa immigration applications naman in Canada, Lou, they're not even really required to have a representative, right? Pwede kayo mag-DIY if you can do it yourself naman talaga.
Yeah, that's correct. And final point siguro, if you want to do a true legit check, check the directory, the professional associations directory. So the law society of whichever province. Or kung RCIC, check nyo sa directory ng consultants with the College of Immigration Consultants of Canada.
Yeah.
Diba? Kung wala sila doon, ay, takbo.
I think that's the first step pala. Dapat kanina pa natin pala nabanggit yun. Oo.
Correct.
Check sila sa mga database na yan. Okay, well, napahaba na naman ang ating kwentuhan. Lou, maraming salamat. That's it for this episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!